Police in Thailand say they're looking into whether the coach of a youth football team could face charges for taking them into a cave complex where they've been stranded for 11 days. The 12 boys and their coach went missing after entering the Tam Luang Nang Nong cave system on June the 23rd. They were found by rescue divers yesterday evening, more than a mile from the entrance. Getting them out will be difficult as the route is now flooded by the monsoon rains. 4 months' worth of food is being taken in, and the boys are going to be taught to dive, as that could be the only way out. Well, the cave system where the boys found is in Thailand's northern Chiang Rai province. The boys entered the complex on June the 23rd. Their shoes and backpack were discovered just over a mile from the entrance. And divers believe the boys turned left and reached an area known as Pattaya Beach, which was underwater. The boys were found a few hundred metres further on, as our senior correspondent Lisa Holland reports.
How many of you? 13? Brilliant.
This was the extraordinary moment when all of the boys and their football coach were found alive. Their rescuers were part of a British team who'd been helping in the search. Perched on a sandbank in the rocks, they had clung to life in the darkness for well over a week, trapped in a flooded underground cave complex waiting to be saved, whilst above ground, a massive international rescue operation swung into action.
We are coming. It's okay. It's okay. Many people are coming. Many people. We are the first. Many people come.
The boys have now been in the cave for 11 long days.
You are very strong. Very strong. We just go up. Okay, go back. We come.
Two of the distinctly British voices calling over to the boys came from this team of divers: Richard William Stanton, Robert Charles Harper and John Valanthan. They joined the international search and rescue operation just days ago. Their bravery and expertise in helping to find the boys was the news relatives had prayed for.
Today is the best day. I've been waiting for my son for so many days. I thought he had only a 50% chance of survival. I'm so excited. The first thing I'll do is hug him.
Now rescuers have to work out how to get the boys up from the cave and in what order, whilst battling the constant rise and fall of floodwaters.
In the field, we would assess the boys' conditions and divide them into 3 categories: red, yellow and green, with red as a critical condition, yellow as a serious condition and green as a stable condition. With our informal assessment, we found that most of the boys are in a green condition.
This is just the start of the rescue operation, with the boys still trapped in caves deep beneath the Thai jungle, and their families told it could take weeks, even months, to get them out. In Chiang Rai and across Thailand, people have prayed for the safe return of the missing footballers and their coach. But their ordeal is far from over. The military is taking them 4 months' supply of food and is preparing to teach them how to dive. Lisa Holland, Sky News, Chiang Rai, northern Thailand.
And Lisa joins us now from Chiang Rai. And Lisa, what can you tell us about the police looking into whether they could potentially charge the coach of this football team now that they have been found alive?
Yes, that's something which is being reported locally, that he will be investigated, although local police sources said that they would neither confirm nor deny whether or not that coach would be investigated. But here, very close to the opening of the caves, the focus is very much on the next phase. The boys have been located. Now, of course, the object is to safely get them out to the surface. Now, I have to say that privately talking to a number of divers who are involved in the project here, who didn't really want to go on camera, I definitely get the sense that the expectation is that those boys would come out, they would hope within days, not weeks and months. The months is the absolute worst case scenario, in that if they can't get the boys out, then they would have to stay there until the floodwaters subside. But let's try and find out a little bit more about what's going on. I have with me Captain Jessica Tate from the US Air Force. Jessica, thanks very much for sparing the time to talk to us. So it's all about the dive operation right now. What can you tell us?
So we're all following the developments very very closely. And you know, when you really think about this, is a Thai-led multinational rescue operation. We're so thrilled that the children and the coach are alive. And we're also very happy that assistance is now being provided because, like you said, you know, the conditions are not ideal, and being able to get to the children and provide them like food and basic necessities probably is the mission. So when you think about that dive aspect, I think that is the effort to be able to do that. Additionally, they're looking at all courses of action. So this is Thai-led, and what is the best course of action to extract these children in the safest way possible? Because that really is paramount. When you think about it, you know, they've been isolated, dark, no food. There's not only like physiological considerations, but probably psychological considerations. And I would say that it's just wonderful when I see this effort by everyone here. I think everyone getting this great news, it was great. And now we're all motivated and we're all here for that next leg.
Yeah, because I mean, how does everyone keep going? About 1,000 rescue workers here. Clearly, it's been going on for 11 days. Not everyone, of course, has been here from day one, but people naturally must be exhausted, exhilarated at the same time. The boys have been located, but you know, how do you keep spirits up, and what is the mood amongst all of the rescue workers?
You know what? I think you're able to keep spirits up when you think about the conditions that they were in and how much worse that is. And the fact that they're there and they're alive, I don't see how you wouldn't want to push through and keep driving this train.
And clearly, obviously, you know, the Thai authorities are saying, look, we're sending food down. If they have to stay there until the end of the monsoon rains, then that's what will happen. But nobody wants them to stay down that long, do they? Everybody, of course, wants to reunite them with their families as soon as possible.
You know, that's true, but you got to consider the safety of the children. So I think however that looks like, and whatever decision that the Thai government makes for that, like, we're fully supportive. You know, the United States and Thailand, we're a long-standing friend and ally, and being able to be here and support our friend, it's been wonderful. And for it to have such a positive outcome thus far, and for us to be a part of the next phase, we're just ready to be here and to serve.
And when everybody saw that video, it made your hair on the back of your neck stand up, didn't it? I mean,
it really did.
We knew that they had been located, but nobody expected that we would get that video. How did you react when you saw that video?
I honestly, like, I had chills. It was incredible to watch that, to hear that initial contact and what they had to say. Yeah, it's so moving when I think about it.
Who were you with when you saw the video for the first time?
We were here with the team, so yeah.
Were you with the other divers?
Oh, no, I mean, like, you know, out about, like, here with all of Thailand, really, you know.
Yeah. and you know, amongst the team, what were they saying? What was the mood?
I mean, happy. Like, I mean, when you think about such a problem set, when the outcomes could have been far worse, and to have like such a miracle story, I don't see how you couldn't be, you know, believing in humanity, really.
I mean, look, and I have to ask you, because relatives themselves told me this, that they had reached the point where they seriously started to doubt whether or not those boys could have survived. Realistically, everybody involved in that secured off operation behind you, at the mouth of the cave, they must privately have started to think that too.
You know what? Honestly, from what I saw the Thai people not losing hope. I really did. And that for me was extremely motivating when I saw, like, you know, everyone coming here, working long hours, hauling dirt, trying to, you know, feed everyone and volunteer their time and probably their money and their expertise, whatever it required to think about coming to this possible solution. I really truly believe when, you know, when someone puts their heart towards something, it's powerful. But when a whole country puts their hearts towards something, wow, like, miracles do happen. I think we did see that today.
Captain Jessica Tate, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Well, as Jessica said there, miracles do happen, and the people who just crossed behind me, they are the people enabling those kinds of miracles to happen. All sorts of volunteers. We're seeing divers coming out soaked from being down in the water, passing supplies through. I talked to one diver who'd just come up from the water, and he said that they'd physically seen people packing food parcels into plastic, being wrapped with duct tape, and that they were even sending down fried rice. Now, it may be that the boys can't stomach that right now. That may be for the rescue workers. Who knows? But that's the kind of thing that's going on right now down in the cave.
Lisa, thanks very much for bringing us that. So what are the options to rescue the boys and their coach? Well, firstly, diving. The group could be taught how to navigate the tunnels using scuba equipment, but with miles of tunnels and rising water levels, it's not a task suited to beginners. The second option is wait and resupply. Rescuers could keep the group supplied while they wait for the water level to drop, but Thailand's rainy season typically lasts until October, which is 4 months away. Lastly, rescuers could drill into the chamber and airlift the group out. Now, this option is potentially the most dangerous. The boys are believed to be half a mile below the surface. Well, let's speak to Andrew Watson, a mine rescue officer who's been very patient, held on for us and joins us now from Dunfermline in eastern Scotland. Andrew, just talk to us about the possibility of training these boys. I mean, 4 months isn't obviously an ideal length of time to train somebody to scuba dive, but everyone's very keen to get them out. How quickly, realistically, could they be taught to navigate these caves with support?
Well, I'm sitting right now in our training centre in Fife where we have the tunnels, and they're obviously not caves, they are tunnels. But the minimum requirement to train someone just in the breathing apparatus would be 3 days. But I would suggest that these children or these kids are then going into a very extreme sort of environment where water, it's moving water, it's dirty water, and the distances are to the extreme. So I would say that the 3 days would be an absolute minimum, and you could probably extend that quite considerably before you could be even confident that you would take the children through that. And I would also point out that it's not a group. There are 13 individuals there who will all react differently. They will all require a different level of training, and they would need to be assessed as individuals before you even attempted to bring them out using the scuba gear.
And they're children, but they're teenage children. Will that give them a greater ability to withstand the tunnels?
I think that depends on the fitness level. Now, assuming that they are a football team who have maintained their fitness, etc., that is obviously on the plus side. But counter that, they've just went 9 days without food, so they're going to have to take time and build their strength back up to make sure that they are fit enough to take the rigours that they're going to have to go through to actually get through the water.
And what's the water like down there? We've heard about very poor visibility and a great deal of mud. What will the conditions be like?
They'll be absolutely horrendous as regards the water. And I mean, as you've said there, normally when you go diving, it's for the privilege of what you're going to see. This is entirely the opposite. They're actually going in there and normally to explore the tunnels. In this case, it's now a rescue, and they're going to have to, if they are committed to getting them out using the scuba gear, go into, as I said it, these extreme conditions with absolutely no visibility. They're going to be objects floating about in the water that's going to strike them. They're going to have to be well aware that that's a possibility, and they're going to have to understand that they cannot, under any circumstances, panic, because once you've committed to getting them out through the water, they're going to have to go right through that.
And what about the possibility of bringing them out without them being trained to scuba dive, you know, as if they were injured or something, as cavers may have to do if they were rescuing somebody? Is there any option to do that at all? Or do they have to be taught how to actually physically get themselves out?
I think in the ideal world, you'd want them to be taught. I think what you're describing there is an extreme condition where they had been given absolutely no choice, and it was the only way to save and preserve their lives was to actually attempt that. But you're changing from a circumstance where they're using the scuba gear to actually having it fitted to them and requiring somebody to make sure they maintain it. And you're going from the extreme to the very, very extreme if you're into a situation where you were bringing someone who was injured out that. And I think you'd have to be in a situation where there was no choice whatsoever, that it was the only way to save their lives. Would you even attempt that?
And what about pumping the water out? It's something that's been attempted, hasn't it? But of course, the monsoon rains just keep on coming. Are there dangers associated with pumping the water out?
I think it's the logistics of pumping the water out. I mean, everything that's involved in actually getting the pumps into position, powering the pumps. There's not a big problem with pumping huge volumes of water. I think looking at the other end of that is just exactly where do you pump the water to so that you don't finish up with a situation where you're causing problems elsewhere. And also, again, you're back to the fact that the water has solids in it. It's making sure you get the right type of pump to do that. And I think logistically, again, you're in a very difficult situation with that. That would be the ideal way, was actually to get to the point where you could lower the water level and get the 13 trapped individuals out that way. But again, logistically, very difficult situation for the rescuers.
And you're talking about stuff in the water. I mean, that's rocks, isn't it? I mean, would a rock fall be a possibility? All of this movement of the water levels, etc.
There is always that danger, and assuming there is some information about the geology, presumably because of the length of time people have actually been entering this cave system, they will have some information on that. But again, in the situation where you have a moving sort of environment in there with removing water, the rocks and rubble that's knocking about in there could actually generate something that causes a rockfall, and that is something that would need to be kept into account.
And we know that the route down to the buoys, that there are pockets where there is air, pockets where they could get their heads above the water. I mean, what would the procedure be? Would it be that they would do one child at a time, the whole route, or would they try and move the group from one position to another as a group, do you think?
I think you're back to what I said already. You can't treat them as a group. There are individuals. Some will require more training than others. Some will be more confident than others. And they need to assess each individual. And I would have thought that they would be trying to get a success story and try to bring the more confident people out to start with, just to prove to the rest that it can be done, and sort of build on that. But again, it's very important that they understand, and I'm sure they do, there are 13 individuals who will all have different requirements and trapped in the tunnel.
I mean, and the psychological impact of what they've been through aside, what kind of health implications could there be for these youngsters when they come back to the surface, having been in this extraordinary environment for so long?
Well, obviously, if you look at the nice, simple one, they've been in darkness, they've had no communication, they've suddenly had this hope presented to them by the divers arriving. They now will realise that it's not as simple as they would have first thought, i.e. divers get through, we can get back out. They're sitting in an atmosphere where it will be wet, not too sure what temperatures will be like in there, but it won't be normal temperatures, and all of that would have to be taken into account. The effect of the water, etc., on their skin can be detrimental, and it's making sure, I mean, it's a balancing act. They will obviously want to get them out as soon as possible, but they have to make sure that it is very, very safe to bring them out. And in the extreme, if that means they have to sit and wait, and we have to transfer equipment in that will maintain their health, then so be it. That's the way we do it. We don't want to put them back into the risky situation, especially now that hope has been raised and we are in communication with them.
Indeed. Andrew Watson, Mine Rescue Officer, great to get your expertise today. Thanks so much for talking to us on Sky.
Thank you.